Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ollie Rodriguez-Storman and we are in the final month of 2024, and I thought what better time than to go over my favourite pickups of the year. This feels like a nice follow-up from the previous video I did where I went through every single record that I got this year. So I picked out a handful. It was very tricky to figure out which were my favourite basically. I think we got about 6 or 7 here that I've gone through and decided out of the 75 plus records I've got this year. And I think I've been able to narrow it down into just this handful of records I've got here that are definitely the favourite ones from this year. Now before I do get into the video, let's just do some quick YouTube admin. Leave a like if you do go on to enjoy this video, and also subscribe, because I'm deciding right here, right now, the goal for 2025 is to hit 5, and that's 5,000. So every one of you who are going to subscribe, really appreciate it. All of you who are already subscribed already, thank you very much. So let's begin the road to 5k, I guess. Might be getting a bit ahead of myself there, but regardless, how about we have a look at my first favourite pickup of 2024. And the first one I'm going to start out with is Eminem presents the Re-Up. So I'm going to set a rule for this one. I can't pick several Eminem records. I can pick one and be done with it. And some of you might have thought I would have picked out the 25th anniversary of Slim Shady LP, which, do not get me wrong, absolutely amazing record, one of the most expensive records I purchased, and one of the coolest I own. However, this one I'm actually putting above it in terms of my favourite pickup this year, because I didn't expect to get the Re-Up anytime soon. You know, like when you just get like a random, just like, how would you put it, just like sense in the force, right? There's a disturbance in the force, and you just go, I'm just going to check on eBay for something real quick. And you type in the one you've always been after and whatnot, and then you suddenly just see there's a really perfect listing for it. That was my situation with the Re-Up. I've been after this one for a few years now. It's basically been the missing culprit, or the missing link between all my Eminem records. Yet, here it is in my hands right now. I was super stoked to get this. I think I got this in September, and since then, there may have been 1 or 2, but I have not seen any of these like pop up again on eBay since then, at least in the UK. And I feel like the price I paid for it wasn't too bad either. Like for the Re-Up, you would probably expect it to be over the £100 mark. I think out of memory, I got this for about 80, there around about. And that's really the reason I'm putting this into this video. I paid less than I thought I would have to for it. I actually found it for a decent price, and it kind of nicely ties up my Eminem collection, at least for like the main studio stuff. So let's stop teasing you. Let's show you the inside of it. There you have it right there. Stop showing my receding hairline on my forehead. But here on the left, we can actually see that we've got the entire Shady Records crew on there. And then on the right here, we do just have some, like, I would kind of call it generic, but just some photos from within the studio where they are rapping, I'm guessing. So, and of course, below both of those, you get all the credits as well. And if we turn it around to the back, there is the back cover of it. And obviously, I'm going to go back to the front cover, because this is probably one of, like, I'm not going to say it's like the best like Eminem cover or anything, but I feel like it's the most meaningful, because this cover Eminem drew himself. Obviously, if you're an Eminem fan, you know he was aiming to be a comic book artist, and this really shows like the sort of style of art he would be dealing with. He's a really good artist in my opinion. You obviously have the Ode to Proof with like the white glow around him. And honestly, this album is slept on. Like, I genuinely recommend, if you haven't listened to it before, if you haven't listened to it in a while, go back and listen to it, because there's some really good stuff on here. And also, from watching like a load of just like YouTube videos this year, I've found out that like there was a lot of stuff on here that's like clearly intended or hinting at King Mavers album that we never got. And it's a really interesting listen, because it almost gives you a taste of what the King Mavers LP could have sounded like. There's a little bit of scuff damage here, but honestly, it's nothing I'm going to cry over. This, I'm so happy having the collection. Need to bag it up and protect it now, but yeah, I'm very happy with this one. So vinyl pickup number 2 might be a little bit more of a surprise standout for you guys. I have spoken about it before, probably in that last video I made, but this is Maiden, 7th Son of a 7th Son. Now, actually being a fan of the channel for a little while, you'll know that I am a hip-hop fan at heart, and this isn't exactly a hip-hop album by any means. Maiden, 7th Son of a 7th Son, for me, is basically like the first, I would call, album that I got into like properly. The first one I had on repeat, the first one I was listening to the music all the way through, the first one I sort of delved into to find out the story about. That was kind of what this album was to me. It was like first sort of like delve into how music can be deeper. And a big part of the reason why I was such a heavy metal fan when I was like, I'm going to say like 13 onwards, until like, well, till I hit like 17, I think. And that was because of my dad. He was the one who put me onto this album, and I'm forever grateful for that, because this got me into this world of music that I'm like really invested in. I really love talking about, I love making, and I feel like without this album, I may not have like gone down that path in terms of like how obsessed I am with music, and because of his influence, that had a big influence on me. Sorry, tripping over my words. Now here comes the sad, depressed bit of this video and this pickup. In case you don't know, I'll just say it, my dad is dead. So I feel like that's too blunt of a way to say it, but fuck it, I'll leave it in there. I don't know how else to say it. But this was like kind of a pickup for me that I wanted to get because kind of like have a bit of a record in my collection as a bit more of an ode to him. Now during the time this was being released as a repressing, they were doing a bunch of different repressings for the Iron Maiden albums, and this one was a bit more of a standout to me in terms of the one that I should pick to get. I was looking at them, figuring out which one meant the most to me, and Seventh Son of the Seventh Son had to be the one that I got because it's the one I have the most memories of, and it's a really good listen of an album. I still haven't listened to it for a little while due to various different feelings. This is the insert of it, so there's the purple side with all the credits, and then on the back you also have the Prophet version of Eddie. Might actually have a proper name in terms of that version of him, but Eddie is definitely the mascot name of Iron Maiden. That's something I have intended to remember. And there is the back of it as well. One of my favourite pickups of the year, not necessarily just because of the music or just because of the design of the record, it's because of what it means to me and why I got into music. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end with this one because that one is actually a really good one. Like, I'm super happy with this one currently in my hands, but I'm gonna save it for the last one, alright? So my next favourite pickup of the year might be one that also catches you guys off guard because it's actually wicked. Like, I'm not even taking a piss here. This is actually a really great pickup in my opinion. So one of my favourite moments or like memories from this year is going to New York, and one of the things I did in New York with my partner Ellie is we went and saw, actually on my birthday as well, actually, the longest birthday I've ever had, I'm calling it. But basically, went and saw Wicked on Broadway, and this isn't like the movie soundtrack, this is the actual Wicked Broadway show. And it's not a regular version of that record either. This is actually the 20th anniversary of the Wicked performance. Now there are kind of like two reasons for this. Like obviously they've jam-packed it with a load of like goodies and stuff like that, like booklet. You also get like this lithograph 3D version of it, can't remember what you call it, but it basically like makes it look like she's talking in the ear of the witch. I'm really sorry, I can't remember her name. Elba? No, that's completely wrong. Alphabet. That's her name, isn't it? Alphabet. Pretty sure that's right. But one of the other cool things about this, you open it up, you obviously get this, which is the gatefold of it, but actually you get a booklet, which I believe has 20 pages, I believe. You basically get this booklet inside it, that when you go through it gives you like loads of shots and like artwork of the actual show itself, credits as well, and it also seems to tell you exactly like how the show came to be. You have like a list of, I believe it's probably the original cast, but it could be one of the more recent ones. I'm not certain on that side of things. But there are a bunch of cool things in here as well. But there's a lot you can go through on that side of things. But one of the really nice things, and this might be where this kind of like becomes my favorite pickup of the year if it wasn't for this, but this might be my favorite colored record of the year, and that is this incredible green, like it's not, I guess it might be a splatter, I wouldn't call it a splatter though, but it does this like spreading effect that just like looks so cool, and I really love the green. Like one of my favorite things about vinyl collecting is when like the colored records actually match like the cover themselves, and this one does a perfect job. Like when I see this, I think, yeah, that's the perfect like tone and color and pattern for Wicked. So this was a big reason this one went up there in terms of like my favorite record of the year. It's again that kind of thing as well, like memories of New York too, so a bit more meaning behind getting it, but this was a really solid pickup for me in my opinion. And now we can get Wicked in the title and SEO. That's not why I put it in here, I want to clarify, that's a joke, but it does help. Alright, let's get back into rap, because I'm actually going to pick Compton by Dr. Dre. This was one of the pickups I got in Brighton this year. One of my favorite trips of the year. Me and Ellie always do it around our anniversary. We go to Brighton and it's the opportunity I get to go to one of my favorite record stores, Cult Hero Records, and they're really great in there, and this was one of the pickups I got this year, and for some reason this one has just stood out to me. It's probably one of the albums that I've gone back to the most this year to listen to and just enjoy, and it's definitely Dr. Dre's like most slept on record as well. And after purchasing it, I was like, I'm just gonna listen to to it a bit more, and that's when I discovered how much it really is good. Like, obviously everyone's probably familiar with the Medicine Man verse by Eminem, but there's so much more you can go into on this album, especially with like the Kendrick Lamar verses on Genocide and Deep Water. I also really love the Eazy-E like comeback in this with okay, I'm having an absolute brain fart being blind, but also another reason this one is like a favorite of mine is because of the cover. Like, look at that. Like, I love the Hollywood sign being changed to say Compton. I love just like, I'm a sucker for like blue skies and everything like that, so that might play a part in it, but like, I just love the vibe this cover gives off. The back of it just like feels really LA and badass as well. And then you open it up and then it's like, look at that. You get a nice car, you get all the credits, and it just looks so clean and nice to like look through. Like, this is kind of like one of those records that I feel like in 20 years time you're like going through a vinyl bin, you come across it and then you pick it up and it's a bit tattered on the sides, but then you pick it up and it's just like one of those ones that you just like, you draw an attraction to. That's what I get from this, and it might seem like this was a bit more of a simple one to add to this list, but sometimes simple is best, and that's why I put this into one of my favorite pickups of 2024. So speaking of Bryson and that trip I went on and then going and seeing Cult Hero Records, there was one other record that I was basically flicking through, going through the crate and whatnot, and I saw it and I was like, you're mine, I'm picking you up. You haven't got a choice, you're coming home with me. And that was Mark Morrison with Return of the Mac. So Return of the Mac was a song that I more so came across last year, and that was thanks to Post Malone's latest, no, not his latest album now, I believe it was, I didn't really listen to the album properly, it was the 12 Carat 2 Fake Pain? That's wrong. 12 Carat 2 Fake, some shit like that. Very random, but on there was a remix, and it was one of the, I think it was Cooped Up, remixed with Return of the Mac, and it was a banging song, and I loved the remix. And it kind of made me go, I wonder what the original Return of the Mac song sounds like, or like in its full entirety. I'm not saying I never heard it before I heard that remix, but you know, like when you're younger and you hear a song on the radio and then you go, oh yeah, that's a cool song, and then like you never really like do anything more because you're 8 years old and you're playing with Lego. I mean, much changed, hasn't it? But then you grow up and then you realize, oh, it's that song. I remember that song. I'll go and listen to it. That was kind of what I had with Return of the Mac, and I had been after it for a little while, and I saw this and I instantly picked it up. It comes with a purple record too, which I will show you in a minute. There is the front of it, and there is the back of it. Now, if you do a pause on that, you will be able to read that it's like a street mix version of Return of the Mac. Yeah, C&J Street Mix on it, and I'm fairly certain that's not like the original version of the song. I haven't done any research into why it's different on here, or if this is like because this is like a repressing type thing and like the original's on the original pressing or some shit like that. I don't know what the deal is. Nonetheless, this is still a really cool version of it to have, and it comes with a really cool like colored record. And again, fitting into that theme of like this was the album that made me realize how important it is not to just like drop an album and have just like available color that week pressing to just match it, so then you can have a limited edition version of your album. This is the colored record that made me realize you need it to match the cover, because when you see this purple, you understand why it just matches, drop it, why it just matches the cover. Obviously it matches the sofa perfectly, and in my opinion that is a really, really good tone of purple to match with this album. Perfect. It is a great song, and I have actually taken the time to listen to this album, and whilst it gets a bit freaky in some parts, quite literally with that I don't think I can get away with saying that title on YouTube, but it does get very freaky on this album at points, but otherwise, very good listen of an album in my opinion, and I definitely recommend going and listening to Return of the Mac if you want to educate yourself a bit more. I mean, if you haven't listened to it by now and you're watching this channel, I believe you probably have heard that song. So, Return of the Mac, Mark Morrison. Now, before I get into my favourite pickup of the year, I want to show you my favourite single of the year, as well as my favourite picture disc. Now, my favourite single that I picked up this year, I think I've got 4 of them across this year. And the one that I'm going to say is my favourite is Amy Winehouse with Back to Black, and Valerie from the Live at BBC One Live Lounge in London 2007. I'm going to say this is my favourite one of the year in terms of singles. It's actually my first Amy Winehouse addition to my collection. But obviously, Amy is an incredible artist, gone way too soon. These are 2 of her most classic songs, and this record, like, I love the transparency of it. I'll just put it there. Sorry if that gets really annoying for you, but a very crystal clear, transparent record. and I absolutely love when they actually look this clear or this good. Nothing too exciting on the back, literally just what it is all it's saying. But yeah, that one, really cool, nice little addition to add to the collection, and I feel like makes the singles collection I'm starting to grow now stand out just that bit more. So when it comes to the picture disc, I'm gonna cheat. I'm making an exception for this one because the first rule I set out at the start of this video was I'm only gonna pick one Eminem thing. Now that I've said that, you guys should be able to figure out what picture disc I am on about, because yeah, I have got like 4 or 5, I think, this year. That's more now I've said it out loud. You should have been able to figure it out by now regardless, and in case you don't know, it's the Relapse picture disc celebrating its 15th anniversary, and holy, I was so happy to see Relapse get some form of like new vinyl release, because it has been too far gone and we need refill on vinyl. That's kind of why I'm putting this in here. I want my campaign for hashtag make refill vinyl something. We can work on that. It's a work in progress title, but I want to push that campaign. I want refill on vinyl, and this, I'm very happy to be given more vinyl Relapse related shit. So thank you Eminem's team for actually listening and giving us something. The pictures disc itself perfectly fits the songs and the vibe that Relapse is going for, with 3 AM in the morning with the blood splatter on it. Really love the actual label here that's basically like going along the theme of the prescription like form on it. And then on the other side you've got My Mom, which has all the references to what my mom is about. You can tell I'm a massive Relapse fan. I've been meaning to change this for ages, but I just can't bring myself to do it. But I do beg you, please, pretty please, can you make me refill on vinyl? If I can't get Relapse 2, give me refill on vinyl. Do it. It pains me to say that will probably be a 20th anniversary edition, but they didn't do one for Encore, and the way Eminem like is with Encore, and he didn't release like a 20th anniversary like collector's edition. I mean, I know he did do like the sudden, oh shit, people were expecting something, let's just release a grayed out cover. I mean, release this, the some shady white version that you made, you've done it, do it for refill. It's the perfect fit. You clearly got songs you can release for a 20th anniversary, because Oh No is an amazing song. Hell, put the Tim Westwood freestyle you did. I want it. I think I'm going insane. So that was my favorite picture disc of the year to pick up. Okay, I've kept you waiting long enough. This is my favorite pickup of 2024, Mac Miller Swimming 5th Anniversary. Now again, to kind of time with the theme, ignore the fact I broke the rules. It was for a picture disc, not a record itself, but I could have put 2 Mac Miller albums into, or vinyls in, oh no, I said the dreaded S on the end of vinyl. Leave a comment roasting me. But no, I could have shown you 2 different records from Mac Miller this year, including the 10th anniversary of Watching Movies of Sound Off. That was an absolutely beautiful record, but in the end I decided to go with the 5th anniversary of Swimming, because whew, this was a great, like, whoever is running Mac Miller's team, you are doing an incredible job. Like, this cover just absolutely speaks volumes in terms of like him not being there, but obviously still being the exact same like image that you get on the front cover. Like, it's absolutely amazing. And then you open it up, like a great like cover, I guess you can call it. Like, I don't mean like album cover, I just mean like an actual cover to put on the record. But then once you open it up, you get like this really calming, peaceful like text that says 2018 on this side, 2023 on this side, and then on the middle, we're gonna be all right. Like, so perfect. And then if I turn it around, we then get it saying Swimming Mac Miller right there. Hopefully you can see. Sorry if my fingers are in the way, but that's really the only way I can properly hold it up. But love the way the color fades on that and the gradient on it. I'll show you one of these, but these really solidify it. And that is this colored record that's like got this, so like, I would call it like more of a marble effect. But I absolutely love like the gorgeous pink and purple that it's going for here. Like, absolutely great. And then on top of it, if I remove it, you can see it a bit better. But then you get like this really nice like actual sleeve to go like alongside it, and it just works so well. And I think it just makes the presentation, like this sleeve, I think it really helps the presentation of making this like edition feels so special to open and go through. And that's not all, because when you go through, you basically get all these like credits, like there would be like an inside booklet, but just they're all separated. So then when you basically put all of them together, you can make it say swimming. If I do that, you can kind of see like all the different options of colors, but I love the color selection for it. Also, like going back to like my graphic design days, I really love like the way the graphics actually are like laid out on this. And then the little final bit you get in this edition is like this poster, and obviously it does show the original color that came with it, but it feels like it's more in a like newspaper obviously material, so paper, but yeah, it just feels really nice, this one, and feels like a nice like little image to throw up of Mac Miller. Oh, and then the back cover of this, you get like this sort of effect going on, a little bit of 3D-ness going on with the actual track and titles and everything. But yeah, this is a gorgeous pickup, and this is like the one that I would recommend if you are a Mac Miller fan. Like, go out and get it. Even if you're not a Mac Miller fan or you haven't ever listened to his music, but you're like an avid vinyl collector, I would genuinely recommend just go and pick this one up, because it's a super cool one to look through and just like experience. Like, to the designer of this, you are incredible. And a message to Mac Miller's team: thank you for like paying a like nice ode to Mac Miller through his music and anniversaries, because you are putting other post-Morphous artists and their teams to shame in a way. And I don't mean anything against the artists, by the way, I mean more against their teams who aren't doing a great job at showing them. Cough. Juice well. Go pick this one up if you haven't already. Highly recommend it. So in summary, my favorite records of this year that I picked up is Return of the Mac by Mark Morrison, Dr. Dre with Compton, The Wicked 20th Anniversary soundtrack, Iron Maiden 7th Son of the 7th Son, Eminem with the Re-Up, and also Mac Miller's 5th anniversary of Swimming. So these genuinely some great pickups. I feel like I've got even more I could have thrown in this video. I feel like I've got one that I wanted to include, but because I haven't unboxed it yet, it felt kind of wrong to actually add it to this, because I'm saving it for a live stream that I'm intending to do in about 5 or 10 minutes if I can get everything sorted on it. So I'm going to do that in a minute. Before I leave this video, I did mention it at the end of the last video I did, but I'm moving out, and me and Ellie, who is my partner, we have basically rented a place, and we are currently in the process of like moving all our shit over. And I'll be honest with you, there hasn't been too much in my room currently that I'm really going to bring. But you know, the one thing that is coming, and that'll be my actual stand, which you can't actually see right now. But yeah, down there, excuse the laundry basket. But yeah, I'll be bringing that with me, which means that this current setup that you've watched over the last like 8 to 10 years is gonna go, and this will be the last video in this setup. So it's been a ride, and it kind of feels crazy we're at this point. So thank you all of you who've supported over the years. As I said, 2025, the goal is 5k, so I'm going to try and hit that. I'm going to save a lot more of the sloppy shit for the Christmas Day video, which will probably be when you'll see me in the new place a bit more. Next video, I did aim to do like a revival, I think 7th year anniversary, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that. But no, I am still going to stay on top of YouTube, don't worry. Thank you very much for watching. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much. Hopefully I'll see you in a minute on the live stream, which probably by now is like a week ago by the time this video gets out. But no, thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe one more time. Bye.